with you soon.
Now to our other major story of the day. 6 new state officials facing charges in the Flint water crisis.
There are 18 different counts showing that they covered up lead poisoning and even a link to deadly Legionnaire's disease in which 12 people died in the Flint area.
We have Team 7 coverage. We are all over this. We're going to start with 7 investigator Jim Kurtzner, who's been on this case from the very beginning.
And Jim joins us live in Flint. And Jim, you have some new information about what they knew and when they knew it.
Carolyn and Glenda, we've obtained this probable cause statement filed with the court that outlines in detail how state officials covered up those lifelong, even fatal health problems. So why would they do that?
It's part arrogance, it's part viewing people in Flint as expendable, that it didn't matter. Covering data up, monkeying with figures.
3 people charged in the Department of Health and Human Services: Corinne Miller, Nancy Peeler, Robert Scott. 3 people charged in the Department of Environmental Quality: Adam Rosenthal, Patrick Cook, Leanne Schechter-Smith. The charges include misconduct in office, conspiracy to commit misconduct, both 5-year felonies, willful neglect of duty, a misdemeanor, and tampering with evidence, an additional 4-year felony for Rosenthal in the DEQ. Lead in Flint water can cause lifelong health problems, especially for children. But there are also 12 fatal cases of Legionnaire's disease, and according to court documents obtained by the 7 investigators, they knew about that link in October of 2014. Quote, since the switch to Flint River water, Genesee County had reported 30 cases of Legionnaire's disease compared to just 2 to 9 cases from the same time frame in prior years, 2009 to 2013. And get this, Leanne Schechter-Smith allegedly tried to cover it up. Another health department staffer wrote, what she did share with me was interesting, that there have been numerous complaints about the Flint water, that the governor's office had been involved, and that any announcement by public health about the quality of the water would certainly inflame the situation. So how big can this case grow?
I think this, at the end, will be the largest criminal investigation in the history of the state of Michigan, and I still believe that.
Probable cause statement on our website, WXYZ.com. It really does detail this case in particular and what these state officials knew and when they knew it. We're also being told by these investigators they're still being stymied by City of Flint officials and even the governor's office getting access to documents and email. That part of the story next hour at 6. Live in Flint, Jim Kurtzner, 7 Action News.
So many layers of this, Jim. Thank you so much. Our team coverage continues with 7 Action News reporter Kim Russell.
So, Kim, how did we get to this day? Well, it is a story that started with a positive goal, of course. In June of 2012, the city of Flint started looking for ways to save residents money on water.
Kim, live in our downtown studio with a look at how it all went terribly wrong.
It did. After looking for ways to save money, the city of Flint announced in 2013 a plan to build a pipeline to get water from Lake Huron after its contract with the Detroit Water expired a year later. The problem? When that contract expired, the pipeline to Lake Huron wasn't ready, and that's when the first mistake was made.
Before there was a crisis, the Detroit water system emailed then Flint emergency manager Darnell Early and offered to continue providing water. Instead, in April 2014, Flint switched over to water from the Flint River. The river water was more corrosive and not properly treated. That corrosive water leached lead from pipes. Right away, after just a month, residents complained it didn't taste right. In October 2014, General Motors stopped using the water because it was too corrosive for producing vehicles, but people continued to drink it. In February 2015, a city test found high levels of lead at a family's home. The little boy who lived there would later test positive for lead poisoning. The state responded to concerns, a spokesperson saying, quote, anyone worried about lead in the drinking water in Flint can relax. In August 2015, state workers tested water. The problem? Critics say some of what they tested was filtered water, so it didn't raise red flags. The next month, a team from Virginia Tech tested for lead. They found high levels at hundreds of homes. A pediatrician heard about their findings and looked at lead levels in children. She found in Flint, the levels of lead in children's blood had on average doubled.
Every child who drank or cooked with this water was potentially exposed and thus is at risk for consequences.
Still, city officials said they couldn't stop using Flint River water.
It's cost prohibitive, understanding that even in the last emergency manager order, it does not allow for the city even to make that decision.
Finally, in October 2015, the governor acknowledges the problem and offers free water filters. Flint switches back to Detroit Water, but officials downplayed it as a local problem.
Finally, this year, the governor and the president declared an emergency in Flint. An independent investigation found state officials responsible. The water to this day is not safe without filtration. Some people think Governor Rick Snyder should be held responsible, but he says he's done nothing wrong.
All right.